Are you considering an overnight sleeper train in the UK? Well, in this episode, Doug takes the Night Riviera and shares the need-to-knows so your journey is smooth, comfortable and memorable. And keep listening to learn exactly where to sit as you head down the Cornish Riviera into Penzance.
Welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Your host is the founder of the UK Travel Planning website, Tracy Collins. Each week, Tracy shares destination guides, travel tips and itinerary ideas, as well as interviews with a variety of guests who share their knowledge and experience of UK travel to help you plan your perfect UK vacation. Join us as we explore the UK from cosmopolitan cities to quaint villages, from historic castles to beautiful islands, and from the picturesque countryside to seaside towns.
Hi and welcome to this week's edition of the UK Travel Planner Podcast. I have Doug here this week.
Hello there.
Now, Doug is in the UK and has been travelling a lot. You are, yeah, and you've been travelling a lot around by train. He's trying all these train trips out so he can report back for you on the podcast and on YouTube. Now, in this week, you're having a great time, aren't you?
Oh, I am. I'm a fantastic time. I'm in my happy place, on trains.
You are. Now, so what we're going to be talking about this week is an overnight sleeper train in the UK. And we're going to be talking about the Night Riviera, which runs from London Paddington to Penzance. So in this episode, Doug's going to cover the practical bits that you need to know. So how to book it, what berth passengers can use, stuff about the first Castle Lounge at Paddington, what time boarding starts, what the check-in process is like, all that sort of stuff that you need to know. So Doug's going to talk about all of that stuff with you. And how to order breakfast, which is very important, so you can roll into Cornwall with a coffee, or more importantly, for us, a cup of tea in hand.
Most definitely tea.
So you're also going to hear the day-to-day details from Doug's trip, including you had a bit of a small engineering diversion that meant a slightly later arrival, but not too bad.
A little,
Yeah, and you're going to share where to sit on the train to get the best views, aren't you? Specifically of St. Michael's Mount. Yep. And then a little bit about what happened on your return journey, because there's a bit of a change with the train, so seat reservations weren't in place. So Doug's going to talk to you a little bit about what to do if that happens.
Did go quite to plan.
Well, those sort of things happen. And if sleeper trains are your thing, you must listen to our Caledonian Sleeper episodes, because we've got 2 episodes about the Caledonian Sleeper. I will put links to those episodes in the show notes. Doug's actually done a video as well about the Caledonian Sleeper if you are interested. And obviously I know you're going to do one about the Night Riviera too. But should we head into chatting about the trip and how it went? So anybody who's thinking about it, if you're listening thinking, oh, I quite fancy this. I quite fancy taking the trip on the Night Riviera. Or maybe you're listening to this and you don't know what the Night Riviera is.
That's true.
Yeah. So do you want to tell everybody, Doug, what the Night Riviera is and why you wanted to do this particular UK sleeper train?
Yeah. Okay, so the Night Riviera is the Great Western Railway sleeper service. As you say, it runs from London Paddington down to Penzance, which is in the tip of Cornwall. So the Night Riviera is one of only 2 sleeper services run in the UK. You've got the Caledonian Sleeper, which runs from London Euston to several locations in Scotland. You have the Lowlander or the Highlander Sleeper. So the Night Riviera Sleeper is one that I've never taken. I've travelled on the same train route many times over many years, but I've never actually got round to taking the Night Riviera. Now, the reason that this runs is because Cornwall is quite remote. I think it catches a few people out when we've done consults just how far from London Cornwall is.
I think it catches most people out when we do consults. It's always a surprise. It's always when people ask questions in the group as well. We're kind of like, do you realise how far away Cornwall is? And I think that people don't realise, actually.
That's true, yeah.
So where does the service leave from and travel to?
Okay, so the service leaves from London Paddington down to Penzance. It leaves at 23:45 or quarter to the midnight, Sunday to Friday. It doesn't run on a Saturday night, but it does leave 5 minutes later on a Sunday night. Now, the service is run by Great Western Railway, and it takes between sort of 7.5, 8 hours-ish. So the stops include Reading, Exeter St David's, Newton Abbot, Plymouth, Lisgar, St Austell, and then stations down the Cornish main line to Penzance. So you're right in what you said earlier. The one at I caught had about 10-minute delay heading into Penzance. There's some engineering works just caused a little bit of delays. So I checked this in advance. I knew exactly what to expect. I check on real-time trains, so a bit more sort of technical information about the train. So I'm a typical rail nerd. I was looking at actually how it was running, where it was going, what the locos were, etc., etc.
Okay, so you kind of arrived a little bit late, but not very much.
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
But
10 minutes late.
Did you leave on time?
Left on time.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect.
Left bang on time.
Okay, so how easy was it to book, and how far in advance did you book it?
So it is actually really, really incredibly easy. So the Great Western Railway website, you can book it on there, or if you went through National Rail Inquiries, it will direct you to that site. So if you go onto the Great Western Railway site, it's just for all train tickets, and there's a little search box on the right-hand side. It's like a little green box. Just type in Night Riviera there, and it just takes you straight to the page, and you book in when you want. I think I booked it about a month ago. Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I know. Yeah, because we didn't book the flight for you to the UK until not that long ago. So
yeah, so it was one of the first things I booked, though, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it was, because I know you wanted to do it, and because we've been asked quite a lot in the Facebook group, and we actually have had emails asking about wanting a kind of to know a little bit more about the Night Riviera. So that was another reason you were kind of like, no, we need to do this one. And obviously, as I mentioned before, you're doing a lot of videos, so this will be going on YouTube as well. So
that's right. I took really a lot of videos and sort of video footage. He just needs me to edit it now, then.
Yeah, well, you will get it edited, and it will get put on YouTube, on the UK Travel Planning YouTube channel. So do look out for that if you're listening to this and thinking, oh, I want to actually see what this looks like. Right, so let's go to Paddington Station. So you arrive at Paddington Station and you're going to catch the train. So what sort of facilities are available for passengers when they arrive at Paddington before they actually get on the train?
Okay, so I arrived probably very early, to be fair. About 8 o'clock I arrived in the evening, but I was taking footage of videos and things like that. So I came on the underground, on the district line, so you walk straight up into the concourse, and then as you're standing looking at the trains departing, because it's a terminus station, Paddington is, on the left-hand side of the station, you've got platform 1. Okay, so on that side of the platform, you have the first-class lounge for Great Western Railway. If you are a paying passenger for the Night Riviera, you have access to those facilities. That opens at 9 p.m, 2100 hours that opens. And inside there is hot and cold drinks, snacks, fruit, showers, which I did go and have a look around. I've got videos of them. And I did ask, yes, they do provide towels as well. And very good separate Wi-Fi to the station Wi-Fi, which is also very, very good. It's actually very fast. And the staff were absolutely lovely. Everybody I met in there was friendly. It's well lit. It's light. Just perfect. So that's there. On the right-hand side of the station, there's the public, the toilets and the washrooms for everybody. And there's showers in there as well if you should want to use those ones instead. But I don't see why you would want to.
But I'm also going to mention in Platform 1 as well, there's also something famous that you probably want to have a photo next to.
Which is right next to the first class lounge. Would that be a little bear by any chance?
It is. So don't miss that. Don't miss having a photo with Paddington Bear. You just can't. So absolutely go and take your picture with Paddington Bear before you go into the lounge.
Whilst we're on the subject of that lovely little bear, I will also mention, I'll come on to the shops and things later, but inside the shops area, the food area, there's an actual Paddington shop. Now, I went in there and quite frankly, I became a little boy again because there's so much merchandise for Paddington. It's actually a joy to be in there. And because I actually got in there a bit later, I was the only one in there. So I was talking to the security guard in there, and she was saying, you'd be surprised. You'd expect all children to come in here. But believe it or not, there's as many, or if not more, adults who come in here than you ever see children.
Yeah, but who doesn't love Paddington? I mean, I've been traveling all around I've been traveling around Paddington. If you've been following on Instagram, you'll know that I've been traveling around the whole of the UK with Paddington. We've been all sorts of places. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go and check out Instagram channel because it's been a lot of fun. Absolute lot of fun. Now, as well as Paddington, obviously there are shops, bars, cafes at Paddington. Are they still open? Because it's quite late when you get in there to take the train. So, can you get meal and drink before you board?
You can. What I did, I went to the shop area 2 or 3 times just to see what was open and then what was closing. So obviously when I got there at 8 p.m, all the fast food and all the shops, everything's still open. I went back about 10 o'clock, 10:15, around that time. And Marks and Spencer's was shut. The Paddington shop was still open. Some of the food stores were closed. Sainsbury's, the supermarket in the UK, that was open till midnight. So yes, you can still get food and drink in there. And some of the fast food shops are still open. And I think there's a cake shop still open as well. So there is still some range, still some variety. You can actually get some if you want to at that time of night.
That's good. So you can go and stock up before you actually board the train and get into your room. So, what time does that actually happen? What time can you get on the train?
Okay, so the official time is 22:30. That's 10:30 at night. Okay, so I was led to believe that the train usually departs off platform 1, like I said, where the lounge is, where Paddington statue is, but also occasionally it leaves off platform 8, which is obviously just further along. So I walked across there just after 10 o'clock, take some photos and videos of the train and have a look at the locomotives, but that's just me. And I was talking to 2 of the berth attendants, and they said, yes, it's 22:30 rigid, but they let me on sort of 5 to 10 minutes earlier so I can walk down the train and have a look at the photos, take some photos and videos, ready for the YouTube. So it's very straightforward. That's all I have to say. Everything is straightforward. There's nothing complex. There's nothing complicated. It's open space. The train arrives early. So you've got good, clear sight. It's on the notice boards. There's also departure boards and screens within the first class lounge. So you don't have to walk out to see if the train's in. They actually put it on the screen in there. The train has arrived. So myself and a few others decided to have a walk out, not all together, to have a look at the train. Some people were moving a bit slower. They wanted to take more time to actually reassure themselves that they're heading to the right area for the train. So you walk from platform 1 to platform 8, matter of a minute or 2 to walk, and then it's open access onto that part of the station. So there's no ticket check, there's no reservation check to walk actually towards the train itself. That is done when you actually come to board, and they unlock the doors at 10:30, so you can actually be led into your berth. Not room, not cabin. It is a berth on a train. That's the correct terminology.
So how do you get into your berth though? Do they give you a card or something? How is it? How does it work?
Yeah, so I was allowed to board the train sort of 5-10 minutes earlier to take photos and videos. So at 10:30, they unlock the central lock-in. The lights on the side of the train come on. It's called a cant rail light. That comes on, and then the berth attendant steps out, and they check your name, your reservation. And here's the thing, which really impressed me. They physically guide you and take you to your berth. So there's not, you're in berth number 15, is down there. They physically walk on with you, hand you a key card, which is similar to a hotel key card, which we've all seen, show you how to open the door, show you how to use the key, and then they open the door and then give you a quick overview of what's there and how it works. We all expect, plugs, sockets and USBs, but there's water, there's the sink in the corner, and how to use the blind. Everything is explained to you. And I asked about temperature control in there, and it's just a simple blue or red toggle switch, and you just move it up and down as to how you want it. Straightforward and simple. The berth size is quite small. It was small for 2, but because I was traveling on my own, it's just nice and cozy. And the top berth, bunk in the berth is already put back. So it's just a 1 seating berth, which has had the like a blanket and duvet and 2 pillows on there. I changed ends with it because I wanted to be the opposite end to sleep, which obviously is your choice. There's 3 lots of lighting in there. and he just found the perfect one. One's a reading light. So it was all just nice and straightforward. There's nothing complicated about the setup. And so I left my things in the room, and I wanted to explore and got some more photos and videos. And actually, I was talking to two of the birth attendants. There was a lady in mine, and there was one guy further down who identified himself as Del Boy. Both of them were so helpful, so kind, and I just can't sing their praises enough. Actually, after the journey, I've actually been online and given feedback on both of them because they were just so kind. We wanted to make sure everything for everybody. I heard them; it wasn't just for me. I heard them introducing other people. A lot of trouble to make sure everybody was happy. Before I say abandon them, that sounds wrong, but left them to their own.
Yeah. Did they ask about breakfast? Because I know, obviously, when we get the Caledonian Sleeper, you have to fill in the information about breakfast,
a menu
ticket,
card,
put it on the
you?
door, a menu
right.
card. That's it. So, is it the same? Is it the same? Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not the same. It's entirely different. So, part of that introduction into your birth, they ask about breakfast to run through the items available. It's your cereal and your porridge, and I think it was a sausage, cob or bat, depending where you're from in the UK, and tea or coffee or juice. So I ordered a sausage, cob, and obviously tea, goes without saying. And I also asked, could I possibly have it in the lounge car? Okay, which was further down the train. I'll explain the train configuration in a second, but that was further down the train. And because I was in coach E, and that is in coach C. Okay, so 2 down. And she went, absolutely no problem whatsoever. So I ordered my breakfast of a sausage, bat or cob, and cups of tea, and I'll arrange the time. I was over at 6:45 in the morning, and the train should have arrived at 10 to 8. So I had an hour thinking by that time, looking at real-time trains, I knew where the train was going to be at that time. So just as we're approaching the sort of the Cornish main line, I'll be hopefully starting to get a bit light. So I'd see a bit more than I possibly might have done sitting in the cabin, in the berth.
Okay, so how was the journey up to that point? Obviously, you've got on, you've been in the berth, you've sorted out what you did for breakfast, but so we know what you're going to do when you wake up. But tell us what it was like. Was it rocky? What was it like?
Well, I have to tell you, because we've experienced many sleepers around the world, and not just the Caledonian Sleeper, on numerous occasions. This was the smoothest sleeper service I have ever been on. Now, part of that is a bit of a sad fact. The two Class 57 locos, one at the front and one at the back, they only have a maximum speed of 75 mile an hour. So I think the slower speed actually contributes to it. These are Mark III coaches, refurbished. I actually worked on these in the mid 80s, but that's another story. So it was not bound to the, when we've been on the Caledonian Sleeper, once or twice you've had sort of severe big jolts, haven't you? Which has sort of made it a bit tricky, but this was smooth. Okay, you got the normal rock and rolling type thing, but far less than I've experienced before. So, because the train leaves at 11:45, quarter to midnight, I think about 12:30, 1:15, I was all tucked up in bed, and then woke and went to sleep. And the next thing I woke up, I think it was about 5:30, 5:45. So, I had a good few hours sleep, but I slept straight through. It was quiet. There was no noise.
I think we do sleep pretty well on the trains, even if they're a bit rocky. I mean, I think the first ever Caledonian Sleeper I took was probably a little bit more rocky than the ones I've taken recently. But I think we're both pretty good at sleep. And then you wear your earplugs, so you don't hear any noise, so you make sure that you're kind of sorted for that.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, about earplugs and masks. Where the Caledonian Sleepers, they provide with a little packet with those in. There was none provided on the Night Riviera. So that's one little difference between the two.
Yeah, take your
own. Take your own, yeah.
So talk about that bit of that trip down that Cornish coastline and into Penzance. So I've kind of saved it to this point in the podcast, but I did say at the very beginning, if you listened long enough, you'd find out which part of the train or which side of the train to sit on, because we're asked this all the time. In fact, I don't know how many times we've given that advice heading up or up to Edinburgh from London, which side to stay on.
Yeah.
But so which side did you sit on?
So before I answer that, keep you in suspense.
Oh, okay.
And let me just, I said I was going to explain the configuration of the train.
Yes.
And so that will help with the answer. So the front of the train, you have then two seating coaches, coaches A and B. They are normal seats, which you can use just to sit up all night, in essence. So that's just a normal train ticket. You can use your Brit Rail on that without paying a supplement. That's just normal seats. Okay. The one behind coach C, there's a little guards van, little storage area. I think there's a couple of push bikes in there with a little through door, and you walk into a lounge area, which covers probably over half. And there's an array of types of seats on both sides of the train, obviously. And then coming back, you've got coach D, and the first cabin there is an accessibility friendly cabin door. So it's an automatic door that opens very wide. I've got videos of that. I'll show that. And then the rest of that carriage and the subsequent ones, they're all the same. There's no first class on the Night Riviera. It is standard class throughout. And I was in coach E, the midpoint. So when I ordered my breakfast, a sausage cob and a cup of tea, I asked the berth attendant which side of the train was best to sit on. I did know this from completing this journey many, many times, but I wanted to hear somebody else say it. She says, yes, sit on the left-hand side in the direction of travel, so you've got a nice view of that Cornish Riviera. So the train comes all the way down the front and then arrives into Penzance, which is also just on the front, on the coastline there, which is really nice. So I got down there at 6:45 for my breakfast, but unfortunately on this morning it was a bit cloudy and a bit misty, so it took me longer to actually try and get some photos through the window. But it is overall a better experience if you can sit there and have your breakfast, because it's not takeaway cups. It was proper cups and saucers and a proper, a plate with knives and, to have your breakfast. There was no quick convenience type. But I did notice the berth attendants walking past with trays, and that's the same tray that was given into berths if you ordered it in your room. But the berths, as lovely as they are, they're only a small window, which only give you a little minuscule view of the coastline. So this is experience has taught us this. We've done this before on the Caledonian Sleeper. We like sitting in the club cars to experience at breakfast on arrival into Scotland, which is a bit different if you're not going through the coastline, because if you're going up to Fort William, Inverness, you've got beauty on both sides of the train, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was really, really, really nice, and it was just so relaxing. But there's one good thing I'll add to that. It was such a lovely feel and vibe within that lounge car. It's hard to explain unless you're there, but there's a few families. The staff, the steward in there was so friendly to people, and all the berth attendants walking up, they were just chatting to people. It was just such a friendly vibe. A few people, saying good morning as I walk past, and one lady says to me, "Oh, you traveling alone? Where are you going?" And it was just nice. I mean, that's one thing we love about train travel anyway. But it's just such a friendly approach from people. But what I did do, and here's a little tip, is I had all my bag packed. I mean, I'll travel light anyway, but I left that in the room, and I did not hand my key card back in until we arrived. Now, there's little bins, like little post boxes throughout the train. You put that in when you leave the train, which they expect you to get out and vacate your room pretty soon on arrival into Penzance.
Hi everyone, it's Tracy here, and I'm excited to announce that Doug and I have now opened bookings for our personalised one-to-one itinerary consultations for January and February. If you'd like expert help planning your UK trip, book before the 1st of November to lock in our current prices, as there'll be a small increase after that date for both our one-to-one consultations and video itinerary reviews. For more information and to book, you'll find all the details at uktravelplanning.com. Oh, I was going to ask you that. That was one thing I was going to say. So you do they give you a bit of a warning, or sort of 20 minutes, 10 minutes before you actually arrive?
Oh yeah, there's announcements all the way, because when they hit those last few stations on the Cornish Riviera down there, there was announcements to say, we're just arriving here, and we're on time, we're a few minutes late, that sort of thing. Apologies for the delay. And then as we're coming around the front towards Penzance railway station, there's a further announcement, very clear announcement that we are arriving 10 minutes late. Reasons given for the delay. Please can you vacate your room as quickly as possible. So just give you plenty of notice there. But the train wasn't full. So, even when the train pulled into the station, it glides in very slowly because it's a terminus station. There's, it's a very relaxed atmosphere, people getting out the berths.
So I know you had quite a quick turnaround because you were heading back to London because you wanted to do the return as well for people. But
yes.
What did you get up to anything in Penzance?
Well, when I was leaving the train, I was talking to the berth attendant, and they said they were going to this particular baker's nearby. And I said I was going to the wharf side, and they said, well, it's up there. So when I headed there to just get a meal deal and a sandwich and stuff to bring back for lunchtime, all the staff were there. It was like a reunion 10 minutes later. So I thought, well, that's a good advert. That's where they all head to for their breakfast and bring things away as well. I was looking at these Cornish pasties. I thought, is it too early to have a Cornish pasty at
it's never too early for a Cornish.
8 in the morning.
Never too early for a Cornish pasty. So did you do anything else apart from getting some food?
Well, I had a quick walk around. It was starting to drizzle a bit, but I thought, well, I've got 3/4 of an hour to kill. So I walked around some of the streets to the back of the harbour area, some little cobbled streets, some sort of back areas. Just so atmospheric and just so Cornish. It was just so lovely. But it was a bit grey and a bit overcast. So, and then I walked back to the station. I wanted to see a bit more from the harbour, but it was just too grey and wet. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I used the entire hour, though, well. I walked around.
Oh, that's good. And obviously you took loads of videos and loads of photos. So they're all going to be available on YouTube as soon as Doug gets this put together, which is not going to be that long.
No. One point I'll add to that, which I missed to say, there's a first-class lounge at Penzance Station, similar, smaller, but similar to the one that's at London Paddington. So on arrival, that is open, and you can go and have a shower, and you can go and have this equal, snacks and drinks, fruit. You're in there just the same as you can at Paddington before departure.
Perfect. So after you were in Penzance for an hour or so, and then you hopped on the train back to London. Now, I know there was a little bit of issues. Just want to give us a quick summary of what happened and what you did, and then how you got back to London.
Yeah, no problem. So I'd got seats reserved, but on arriving back at the station, they said that the train was shorter than it should have been, so there was no seat reservations working. So the train left on time, and we arrived in time into Paddington. I sat on the right-hand side of the train so I could get views of the Mounts Bay and St Michael's Mount because the weather cleared a little bit by this time. I sat next to a lady who's an author, and we had a nice shared experience all the way back to Paddington. It was just a nice journey.
So that's brilliant. So I know there was a little bit you mentioned about the fact that the seat reservations weren't working. So if that happens to anybody and they've made the seat reservations and they get to the station and the seat reservations have been cancelled, and this has happened before when I've taken trains in the UK as well. What advice would you give people to how to deal with that?
Well, if you can find a seat, sit in it, and if you're unhappy to do so and you don't want to board the train, talk to the station staff about what options are open to you.
Perfect. And also, I think it's worth mentioning at this point as well that on this particular train, there was then no refreshments. So I think that's, again, what we said earlier about making sure that, you went and did all that shopping and made sure you had stuff to eat and drink, that it's very important that you do take your own refreshments.
Most definitely so. There was a refreshment trolley, but the train was busy, so it couldn't get down. So they made the announcement.
Okay, so could you go down to the trolley to get stuff, or was it difficult?
You could do if you could get there.
Right, so that made it more difficult. Okay, so there's a good couple of points that, from Doug there about if the seat reservations aren't working, and again about taking your own refreshments. But let's swing back to the Night Riviera, because that's what this podcast is all about. So obviously you had a great time, and I'm really jealous, and I'm now going to have to do the Night Riviera when I'm back in the UK for sure.
I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, we'll do it together. So we'll make sure we'll do it together next time, and we'll take more videos so you can have another YouTube video. But anyway, you will be making a YouTube video of this, and you're getting this out as soon as you can. Yes. And so do check if you listen to this episode to see if it's already on our YouTube channel, UK Travel Planning. But if somebody's considering booking on the Night Riviera, what would be your one tip that you'd share with them?
Ooh, Okay, well, I think the best tip really to get the most from the whole experience is to arrive at Paddington in good early time because the first class lounge is worth sitting in. There's some lovely comfortable chairs, nice relaxing area. You got your food and drinks, some snacks and fruit, etc. Like I've already said, and it's just worth embracing that whole experience. And if the train departs on platform 1 or 8, doesn't matter. You're allowed to get near the train, and it's all very relaxed and civilized, if you know what I mean. There's no stress, there's no rush, there's no hassle. The staff everywhere I came across from the lounge and on board the train was so lovely. So yes, my big tip is get there early, don't rush yourself, just use the facilities available to you, and you've actually paid for.
Yeah, and I think my tip sounds like go on the Night Riviera if you're going to head down to Penzance. It sounds like such a lot of fun, and we absolutely love sleeper trains. So, as I say, I'm really jealous that you've done this. So, if you're listening to this and you have taken the Night Riviera, leave us a message on SpeakPipe and let us know about your experience. Or if you're listening to this and thinking, I now want to do the Night Riviera, again, jump onto SpeakPipe and leave us a message because we love to hear from you about your trips or about what you want to do.
When you say just one tip,
yeah,
I've actually got another.
Okay.
I would say also a good tip is, I've already said, get your breakfast delivered to the lounge car.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll definitely do that. So you're only supposed to have one tip. That's always generally allowed, but I'll let you off.
Thank you.
I'll let you off. So I'll put links in the show notes to things that you talked about, the different websites that you mentioned to find out about kind of what's going on with the trains, to book the Night Riviera train. So I'll put all those sorts of links in there, links to the video as well, and some photos that Doug's taken from this trip, so you can have a look at those on UK Travel Planning show notes. Otherwise, it sounds like you're just having an absolutely brilliant time.
I am, because that's just one journey. I'm out travelling by train every day. I went to Stratford yesterday. I've got Oxford, I've got Bath. So all of these things are going in YouTube videos.
I know, so definitely go and check. Honestly, go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's going to be great. And also check out on the website as well, because we have a train travel hub on the website, which has got links to all our articles, and we've got a lot of articles about that. Doug's written all about train travel around the UK. We've also got a UK guide to UK train travel as well, ebook, so you can access that. And this episode's going out, we're recording this a couple of weeks ahead, but by the time this episode goes out, we're going to have consults open for January and February next year. So if you want to chat to Doug about planning your trip around the UK by train, or you've got questions, come and chat, book an itinerary review, book a consult, come and chat to us about your train travels.
Definitely.
Anyway, I guess that just leaves me to say, as always, until next week, happy UK travel planning. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the UK Travel Planning Podcast. As always, show notes can be found at uktravelplanning.com. If you've enjoyed the show, why not leave us feedback via text or a review on your favourite podcast app? We love to hear from you, and you never know, you may receive a shout out in a future episode. But as always, that just leaves me to say, until next week, happy UK travel planning.